reality of San Francisco streets is a far cry from its postcard image. After countless criminal acts up and down the route.
I lost my home and I lost my way. I'm all alone, like a cat gone astray.
Security video that captured the attack helped lead to that arrest.
Clearly, we're not meeting the demands that people have on the streets.
San Francisco's tourism is taking a hit. And you know why? Because they got a really bad homeless problem.
If there was one thing you could change, one thing that you think would probably have the most impact in terms of changing what you perceive to be the problems with San Francisco, what would that be? Like,
as big as I want.
Go big.
Get rid of government, anarchy.
Really, just complete anarchy.
Yep.
Okay. The thing about San Francisco is it really does have aspects to it that are incredibly beautiful, this kind of pristine, gorgeous environment, while at the same time having an opposite face that I was never really privy to. And to be honest with you, unless you go there and see it on the ground level, a lot of people aren't privy to. I noticed immediately that they've done a really, really good job of dictating the image of San Francisco. Talking to the people that I've talked to, I realized that there is a petri dish of ideologies that a lot of people have, and they run the spectrum from complete anarchy to complete socialism. And because I don't think it's sustainable, one thing is gonna happen. It's just going to collapse on itself, and they're going to have to rebuild. The irony is San Francisco is a place that is essentially used to doing that because they've experienced their share of disasters where they've literally physically had to rebuild the city. And as a result of that, I wonder if that is an ingrained ideology within a lot of the people in San Francisco. There is that sentiment of, just get rid of the government, get rid of it all, just start over from the beginning. And that's a romantic thought. But sometimes I wonder if it's a scapegoat, if it's too easy of a solution. And would it inevitably just end up resulting in the same conditions that we have now? I don't know, but I do know one thing. From what I saw in just a short period of time that I was there, it's unsustainable. This dynamic is unsustainable. I just can't see it happening or going any other way.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
One thing I always hear about San Francisco is how beautiful it is, how awesome it is, and picture perfect San Francisco is. How true is that actually?
If you zoom out, it's beautiful.
Gotcha.
But when you're on the streets, it's pretty shady here.
Yeah.
Golden leaves on concrete streets, they feel out of place. Why not take a bite of pure sunlight? It's a different kind of taste.
Our sidewalks and streets are lined with feces, urine. Junkies have taken over the sidewalks. Drug dealers have taken over sidewalks. In many neighborhoods, including Tenderloin downtown, Soma, Mission, and more. People are completely methed out, heroined out, just passed out on streets and sidewalks. It's really ridiculous.
What do you think would be some of the things that we could do to start to kind of fix or alleviate some of these problems from your personal opinion?
Are you serious?
Being that serious, yeah.
Because what I will propose will be very unpopular, but it will work. It's the only way. Because you have to get government out of the picture. So, as I say, you have to cut the head of the snake. The reason we have the problem is because we are depending on the government to solve these problems.
12 million million for homeless encampment housing, $2.8 million to wash down biohazard material, and $3.1 million for pit stop portable toilets.
The government has no incentive to solve these problems in setups like San Francisco, because they have created the homeless industry, which is a racket.
We're not spending $241 million a year on the 7,000 or 8,000 people who are homeless in San Francisco. We're spending more than half of that money, actually, to keep people in permanent housing.
There's, close to $1 billion being pumped every year in San Francisco into the pockets of various people in the homeless and the harm reduction industry.
San Francisco manages all of this through at least 8 different city departments, issuing some 400 contracts with at least 75 private organizations. A tangled network of services with no unifying oversight by the city that actually hands out most of the money.
The only way you can solve the problem is to cut the supply of money to these organizations and then allow truly good organizations who want to help. Bunch of people and NGOs raise their own money through charity, and then the best charities will be the ones that will get funded year after year. So if you are a billionaire, you will give to the charities that are actually making a difference. Because you're not taking money from good, hardworking people, give it to the government, who will then give it to their preferred NGOs and friends.
If I'm going to get kind of radical on you, when I listen to it, it sounds like constructive socialism.
What they are doing? Yeah. Has socialism ever worked?
No, it hasn't.
So there you go.
So essentially what they're doing, instead of just saying, we're going to leave the socialist state, we're just going to take all of your money, we need to raise taxes.
You want that money, baby? That's right, you know who got it.
The city's biggest budget ever.
We're spending all kinds of money.
$11 billion is what it will take to run the city of San Francisco. $11 billion?
Out of touch with reality. Where does that money go?
Government makes a lot more sense sometimes if you look at it as a for-profit operation. They're trying to basically take in as much revenue as possible while providing the least amount of services or doing the least amount of work that they have to do in return.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, analyze it from that perspective, I think it becomes a lot more understandable.
But being able to see things from different perspectives, right? I've seen both sides of each perspective. And the one thing I've walked away from it is it's difficult.
Yeah. Well, I say that, the fundamentals aren't difficult. Sometimes the implementation is difficult, but
Absolutely.
The fundamentals, if you just go from the perspective of people should be able to do whatever they want as long as they're not initiating force or fraud against anybody else, or don't hurt people, don't take their stuff. And then for any given policy, you just ask, okay, would this policy change? How is this going to affect the balance of power between ordinary people and the state? Is it going to make government more expensive, more controlling, bigger, or is it going to do the opposite? Is it going to give people more autonomy in their own lives and freedom to do their own thing without a lot of controls and taxes?
What policies do you think that are currently in place now that you think do the most damage to someone like you?
Trying to move us out of the city when we're stable here in a sense of just not being able to be housed. Because we may have jobs, we have children that are going to school, but we just can't afford the places that they're putting out there for us. It's very hard for a middle class or even lower middle class family to get a place out here.
A family of 4 in San Francisco making less than $92,000 a year is considered well into the low-income range.
They don't have enough housing for everybody.
Gotcha.
Multi-billion-dollar tech companies are setting up shop.
I feel that these companies that are coming into San Francisco want to push the natives out.
Okay.
And especially if you have a family and you don't have the means to support your family the way they do, like you're not a millionaire or you're not an upper class citizen, they want to push you out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's a side that most people don't really hear about San Francisco.
Yeah.
And so why do you think that
it's
is?
It's unfortunate. Because they feel like they have more money and they feel like they have more power. They can own this building right here across the street and they can say, oh, you've been here for 15 years, but we bought this landlord out, so now you have to leave. And they up the rent. Or you can stay, but now it's $5,000.
They pay $7,000 a month.
54% rent increase.
It's just been such a steady climb dramatically in the last 5 to 10 years. It's astounding.
The sky-high new record.
And they're pushing a lot of different people in that can make the money to support San Francisco.
That can make the money to support it. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I think that's what they're doing, and they're doing it really well. They're tearing all these buildings out, like right across the street right here. Them buildings have been there as long as I've been here. They're putting in like a new apartment building, but the apartments are gonna be condos, so they're gonna be $1 million to be able to stay there. And it's on Market Street. You got perfect location. Twitter's right here. Salesforce is down the street. Uber's up the street, you know, so it's a perfect location.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. So unless people like me and people like everybody else in else stands up and says something about it, it's not gonna be San Francisco. It's gonna be whatever the tech companies want it to be.
My clientele and my microcosm, I don't see that as much. The choices and the trade-offs I see are, do we want to buy in San Francisco proper, or do we want to expand our search north, east, or South Bay from a real estate perspective? I just yesterday was chatting with a client couple, and we were talking about the prices, and I have some folks paying upwards of $30,000 a year for property taxes. And of that is a section that's going towards a budget that we hope is managed by London Breed.
Gotcha.
And that would then trickle down to services to be available for homeless to have what they need. So it's a circle. I believe that there are a lot of different political agendas of folks wanting to keep things maybe as they are.
Oh, yeah.
Because after 13 years with Silicon Valley an hour away, $10 billion budget, 31,000 employees, how have we not fixed this problem?
We're funding a lot of executives up in that place called City Hall, and the average salary in that building is $173,000. So what we're doing for our homeless population in San Francisco, we're making sure no one in City Hall is homeless. And that's where all of our funds are going, to support this homeless industry, as you want to call it.
Should I brace myself for some changes? Will they ever come? Or are we changeless? It's a desert out there, only the strongest make it. You better hedge your bets, 'cause gold, it doesn't come easily. There's no free running water, no one to keep you on the right track. You're on your own, you're on.
There was one point in my time in San Francisco where I literally thought to myself, there's been a deliberate attempt to cover up this mess. And I have to call it what it is, it's mess. It's just mess. Dealing with the homelessness, dealing with the drug use, dealing with the vagrancy, all of it. It has very unintended consequences, or intended, depending on who you ask. It has to be deliberate. There has to be a very definitive and deliberate attempt to cover this stuff up. Because if not, then that says something about us as humans in general, because this should not exist the way it does, not in a place like San Francisco. So I know for certain, this episode, along with the other episodes, I'm going to really piss off some people. But I mean, what else am I supposed to do? The same thing that's been going on, just ignore it and just not address it? Yet, they want to manufacture other problems that really don't exist and then come up with solutions for it to garner more money or to create an environment where people are more dependent on the government. I'm just not, I can't do that.